All righty. Good evening, everyone, and good evening, commissioners. And over to you, Chair Harrington.
Thank you, Clerk Moss. Welcome, everyone, to the Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025 Washington County Board of Commissioners business meeting. Clerk Moss, could you do us the honors, please?
Certainly, Chair Harrington. Washington County Board of Commissioners, also meeting as the Board of Directors for Clean Water Services and all other county service districts, is meeting this regular session, April 22nd, 2025. Commissioner Fye?
I'm present.
Commissioner Willie? Here. Commissioner Schneider?
Here.
Vice Chair Treese?
Here.
Chair Harrington?
Here. Thank you, Clerk Moss. Next, would you all please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Commissioners, before we move to public comment, I believe we will have some of our attendees from the Civic Leaders Program who will need interpretive services. So I would like to entertain a motion to not count their interpretation in the 2-minute total.
So moved.
Is there any discussion?
Not beyond, I think it's the right thing to do.
Okay, all those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. Clerk Moss, do we have anyone who wishes to come and share their thoughts with us this evening for 2 minutes an individual?
Yes, we do. The first two up is Dale Feek and Sandra Nelson.
Never heard.
Okay, please go ahead, Dale.
Chair Harrington, Madam Harrington, and Commissioners, I'm Dale Feek, resident of Forest Grove County since 1966. I sent you an email. You got that. For links, you'll need to open an email. And you have before you what Clerk Moss wants you to have. So I'm just going to get to the basics of it. There are two parts. What I sent to you, I'm just going to do the first part. The statements that Bob Terry and Catherine Harrington wrote in the 2018 voters pamphlet are here. It's part of your document, and I'll give Bob a copy back there. After attending Washington County Commission meetings beginning in 2014 and attending most of the County Commission meetings during Chair Harrington's term of office as the elected chair, I can say that Washington County has been led by dedicated, smart, knowledgeable, and effective leader who has made Washington County government more efficient and streamlined. A county that puts service to the residents of Washington County as the #1 priority. I have been impressed with the quality of leadership that the county has hired and the quality of staff that has remained after Harrington was elected, as she chairs the Board of Commissioners for the county and Clean Water Services, which is sewage and stormwater. I'm disappointed with Bob Terry, who has joined the national movement called Election Truth Alliance, and I gave you the link there, whose mission is to explore the consequences of election fraud and the importance of safeguarding the voting process for a healthy democracy. I appreciated Commissioner Jason Snyder, and I spelled his name wrong, willingness to read the emails of Bob Terry and his friends, Washington County version of Election Truth Alliance, to attend Dr. Thomas Franklin's training about voter fraud, to listen respectfully to the 2-minute and 5-minute public comments by Bob Terry's group at this meeting, business meetings, and then conclude that a lot of what has been presented is not valid about voter fraud in Washington County. I have 7 seconds. Please read the second part at your leisure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We do have it, Mr. Feek. Ms. Nelson, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Harrington and Commissioners. My name is Sandra Nelson. I'm a resident of Washington County. Last week, Commissioner Fye asked me what book I was reading and what it was about. Remember? I showed her the book, Winning the Battle for the Minds of Men, but I couldn't really tell her what it was about yet. I just started reading it. Having read about half the book so far, I'm in a better position to answer Commissioner Fai's question. And fortunately, I discovered the book also answers the statement made by another young woman last week who I believe seemed to think that our Constitution orders a separation between church and state. Quoting from this book, "The founders of this nation were wise enough to establish neither a state church nor make the state non-religious in its value base. Even the Supreme Court's historical findings support this view. The Supreme Court ruled in 1799 that by our form of government, the Christian religion is the established religion. In 1892, the United States Supreme Court, in the case of the Church of the Holy Trinity v. United States, examined hundreds of state constitutions, court cases, and other historical documents and reached the following conclusion. There is a universal language pervading them all, having one meaning. They affirm and reaffirm that this is a religious nation. These are not individual sayings, declarations of private individuals. They are organic utterances. They speak the language of the entire people. These and many other matters, which might be noticed, add a volume of unofficial declarations to the mass of organic utterances that this is a Christian nation," unquote. Some may be thinking, well, that was then and this is now, stop the God talk. But there's good reason to reclaim our roots. More next time. Father in heaven, thank you for our heritage. Your moral and just laws are for our flourishing. Thank you for wanting the best for us and for all people.
Ms. Nelson.
Help us to review, I'm almost finished, renew the search for that best with your guidance and word.
Ms. Nelson.
In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Ms. Nelson.
Thank you.
Clerk Moss, who do we have next?
Next, we have Erica Chavez and Sofia de la Cerda.
Buenas tardes, presidenta y miembros del comité. Mi nombre es Erika Chávez y pertenezco al Distrito 4. Me dirijo a ustedes porque me gustaría que hubiera más acceso a transporte público en mi distrito. Esto apoyará a mi comunidad en el traslado escolar, citas médicas y compras de mercado. En mi ciudad, Forest Grove, solamente contamos con una ruta de transporte, el cual para acceder tienen que caminar varias cuadras sin importar las condiciones climáticas.
Good afternoon, President and members of the committee. My name is Erica Chavez, and I belong to District Number 4. I've reached out to you because I would love to have more public transportation in my district. This would help my community in transporting school children, medical appointments, and grocery shopping. In my city, Forest Grove, we have one route of transportation, so we have to walk several blocks to get to it in any weather condition.
Como madre soltera batallé por mucho tiempo, ya que tenía que caminar para poder ir a trabajar y llevar a mi hijo al lugar donde lo cuidaban. Me apoyaba de una carriola, pero fue un tiempo difícil por la variación de clima. Yo no quisiera que una madre o algún miembro de mi comunidad siga pasando por esto. Por eso hoy estoy aquí. Es importante que tengan más rutas, sabiendo que el distrito es el más grande del condado de Washington.
As a single mother, I struggled a lot since I had to walk to get to work, and I had to take my kid to the babysitter. I would push against the stroller, but it was difficult because of the weather changes. I would hope I won't see any mother or community member go through this. That's why I am here. It's important to have more routes, knowing that my district is the biggest in Washington County.
Esto apoyará a la comunidad, en especial a niños y personas adultas que acuden a la escuela y citas médicas para tener rutas más accesibles y seguras. Gracias por su tiempo. Les animo que apoyen mi propuesta que beneficiará con el transporte público a más miembros de mi comunidad.
This would help the community, especially children and adults that go to school and medical appointments, so it would be nice if they had more accessible routes. Thank you very much for the time, and I encourage you to support my proposal that would benefit public transportation to more members of my community.
Thank you, Ms. Chavez. Sophia?
Buenas tardes, Presidenta y comisionados del Condado de Washington. Mi nombre es Sofía de la Cerda y pertenezco al Distrito número 2. Me dirijo a ustedes con el debido respeto.
Good afternoon, Chairwomen and Commissioners of Washington County. My name is Sophia, and I belong to Pam Treacy's District Number 2, and I address you with all my respect.
Estoy aquí para que me ayuden a solucionar a mí y a mis vecinos el problema que existe en nuestro vecindario con carros sin placas que se encuentran en la calle Northwest 183 Road Avenue.
I'm here for your help and my neighbors to solve the problem that exists in our neighborhood, abandoned cars without license plates, which are concentrated on Northwest 183rd Avenue.
Desde enero del 2024 a la fecha, hemos visto el aumento de carros abandonados y personas que utilizan esta área como taller mecánico.
Since January 2024, we have seen an increase in abandoned cars and people using these areas as a mechanic shop.
Dejando aceite de carro regado en el piso, latas de cerveza, basuras de todo tipo. Tienen música hasta altas horas de la noche y a veces se escuchan discusiones y pleitos entre ellos. Las aceras están muy sucias.
They have music play. They have abandoned cars there. People using this area as a mechanic shop, leaving car oil spilled on the ground, beer cans, and all kinds of trash. They have music playing until late at night. Sometimes arguing and fighting can be heard among them. The area is very dirty.
Debido a esto, no encontramos estacionamiento, ya que ellos toman los espacios poniendo sus carros muy pegados unos con otros sin dejar espacio.
Because of this, we can't find parking. They take all the spaces, parking their cars too close together, leaving no room.
Necesito que me apoyen para tomar una solución, ya que el vecindario se ha vuelto inseguro, sucio, ruidoso, aparte que manejan a alta velocidad y frenan con rapidez, quemando llanta en el área.
I need your support to find a solution as the neighborhood has become unsafe, dirty, and noisy. Besides, they drive at high speed and brake quickly, burning tires in the area, causing insecurity for the children and seniors who can no longer rest calmly and safely across the street or go for walks.
Provocando inseguridad a niños y adultos mayores, ya que no pueden estar tranquilos para cruzar las calles o salir a caminar.
Causing insecurity for children and adults since they cannot walk on the street and safe and also on the sidewalks.
Les animo a que nos apoyen con un plan estratégico con vigilancia adecuada y seguimiento para que para este caso y proteger la integridad y seguridad de nuestro vecindario.
I encourage you to support us with a strategic plan with adequate surveillance and follow-up for this case and protect the integrity and safety of our neighborhoods.
Para que nuestros jóvenes, ancianos, niños y cualquier persona se sienta seguro
So that our young people, seniors, children, and anyone else feel safe.
haya más señalizaciones y penalizaciones para las personas que alteren el orden en la comunidad.
And that there will be more signs and penalties for people who disturb the order in the community.
Le agradezco sinceramente por su tiempo y espero contar con su apoyo.
I sincerely thank you for your time, and I hope to count on your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Monica Gutierrez.
Okay. Good evening to Board Chair Catherine Harrington and the rest of the commissioners. My name is Monica Gutierrez, and I am a proud member and resident in the city of Hillsborough. I have been living here in the past 17 years, and I'm part of District 4 of Washington County. I miss so much about being able to walk confidently while connecting with nature through my parks without having to worry about dogs with no leash. I'm here because I would like to address the danger and the emotional distress unleashed dogs are causing in our community. I have seen dogs without leash in the Harbor Rooster neighborhood, in Road, Bridge, and Shoot Parks, specifically Monday through Saturday in the mornings. It is important to remember that we have more than 30 beautiful parks in the city of Hillsborough, and those include a few dog parks as well. Maybe you don't know, but we have an estimate of 145,000 dogs around Washington County, and in consequence, the county animal services respond to over 7,000 calls on a year, often related to dogs off leash and dog bites. I would love to have your support in distributing more visible signs to our public parks, setting the respective fines for not keeping our dogs on a leash, with the purpose of fostering community safety, building a strong dog-friendly community, and creating a wide collective culture of respect for the comfort and well-being of our neighbors. I am believing that you will be representing me. Thank you.
So that did bring us to our 10 minutes. There's 3 additional. Is it with the board's wishes to continue or to move to the end? Okay. All right. Next is Jill Latre, and then we'll have 2 online via Zoom.
Good evening, Chair Harrington and Commissioners. My name is Jill Latre. Tonight I will continue reading from the executive order signed on March 25th, Preserving and Protecting Integrity of American Elections. Section 3, Providing Other Assistance to States Verifying Eligibility. To assist states in determining whether individuals are eligible to register and to vote, the Commissioner of Social Security shall take all appropriate action to make available the Social Security Number Verification Service, the Death Master File, and any other federal databases containing relevant information to all state and local election officials engaged in verifying the eligibility of individuals registering to vote or who are already registered. In determining and taking such action, the Commissioner shall ensure compliance with applicable privacy and data security laws and regulations. The Attorney General shall ensure compliance with the requirements of 52 U.S. Code. The Attorney General shall take appropriate action with respect to states that fail to comply with the list maintenance requirements of the National Voter Registration Act and the Help America Vote Act. The Secretary of Defense shall update the federal postcard application pursuant to the Uniformed and Overseas Citizens Absentee Voting Act to require documentary proof of U.S. citizenship as defined by Section 2 of this order, and proof of eligibility to vote in elections in the state in which the voter is attempting to vote. Election Manager Dan Forrester has stated, Washington County Elections Division is responsible for maintaining the voter registration records for voters residing in our county. We implore the Elections Division to use these resources to verify the eligibility of all individuals registering to vote and those who are currently registered. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Latre.
Right, and next we'll move to our online. So we have Evelyn Coker. Evelyn, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, please go ahead for up to 2 minutes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Chair Harrington and members of the commission. My name is Evelyn Kocher, and I'm a resident of Beaverton. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the Clean Water Services Commission. I believe that as taxpayers, it is our right to know what the government is doing with their money, and the government has the ability to do a lot of amazing things with this money. However, if we trust in Clean Water Services to incorporate its own independent insurance entity to defray costs for the taxpayer, then that entity should absolutely be subject to Oregon Public Records law. If an entity that is entirely owned by another entity that is funded by our tax dollars is not subject to public records law, that's a very dangerous precedent over what our taxpayer funds can be used for and what records can be kept secret. And this has come to a head in the continued attempt to hide the excess spending on trips and food of members of Clean Water Services in the past few years. I believe that the attempt to avoid accountability by Clean Water Services and the related insurance company is absolutely a disservice to all citizens of Washington County and a disservice to all of us who enjoy the many amazing public services that we in Oregon have to offer. And it is an imperative upon not only the commissioners of Clean Water Services, the related insurance company, but also the county commission to fully audit and to fully be a good steward of our taxpayer dollars, ensuring that they're put to the best use possible, the most efficient use possible, and that no use of our taxpayer funds is subject to a black hole of accountability. Please hold Clean Water Services accountable to their excess spending and all forms of Clean Water Services, including the incorporated insurance company, to Oregon Public Records law. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cooper.
All right, the last person we have is Bruce Bartlett. Bruce, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
You can. Please go ahead for up to 2 minutes.
Very good. Thank you. Bruce Bartlett from Bonnie Slope. I am a master gardener who is on the Extension Community Advisory Network, ECAN. And in our last meeting last week, I got a little preview from Angela Sandino, the Extension Director in the metro area, that the county is proposing to continue funding Extension in the upcoming budget. And I wanted to express my deep gratitude for your commitment to supporting Extension. And I hope that the funding that's there stays in the final budget. And, all the 4-H kids, thank you. The Master Gardeners, thank you. Go up to Jenkins Estate, THPRD, and see the tremendous gardens that the Extension Service is maintaining, as well as the PCC Rock Creek Educational Garden. So thanks a lot, and thanks for supporting Extension.
Thank you, Mr. Bartlett. We don't yet have a proposed budget for fiscal year 26. Ms. Angie will be, as our budget officer, will be presenting the proposed budget on Monday evening, April 28th at 6 p.m. And I invite you to join us in learning about what this proposed budget includes. We'll all learn together. Thank you.
That concludes the public testimony for this section, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Clerk Moss. Next up, we have tonight's consent agenda, which consists of 9 items. 1 set of minutes for the Clean Water Services Board of Directors, 5 items from Health and Human Services, 1 item from the Department of Cooperative Libraries, Facilities, Fleet, and Parks, and 2 items from County Council. What are the wishes of the commission regarding tonight's consent agenda?
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt tonight's consent agenda. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. Next, we're going to move on to boards and commissions. Tonight, we have an opportunity to appoint members of the 2025 and year 2026 Salary Commission. We have the opportunity to appoint Masood Rashid, Fazal Asim, Maria Amjan, Juan Pablo Villalobos Garcia, Ibrahim Turki, and as an alternate member, Ibrahim Abdi for the Salary Commission with terms ending December 31st, 2026. At our work session today, we had the opportunity to see the applications for these members and to ask questions. And so that is the proposal before us this evening. What are the wishes of the commission?
Move to approve. Second.
All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. And I would also like to thank our many staff, including Faiza, whose last name eludes me at the moment, for helping us find appropriate folks to serve on the Salary Commission that have all kinds of experience in hiring people, retaining workers, managing salaries and careers.
Thank you, Chair and Board, for your confidence in me having names of our employees off the cuff. I am proud to say it did come to my mind, Faiza Noor, and really appreciate her outreach to the community for the Independent Salary Commission.
Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Noor. Really appreciate it. Next, we're going to move on to proclamations, and we have 2 different proclamations for this evening. The first of which is to proclaim April 21 through 25, here this year 2025, as Community Development Week in Washington County. And I believe we have a guest, Stephanie Jones, as well as Shannon Wilson, our Program Manager for the Office of Community Development. And we have a couple of other guests as well. Thank you for joining us this evening. I appreciate it. We're getting mics up for each of you. Terrific.
Thank you.
Great. Go ahead, Ms. Wilson.
Thank you. Well, good evening, Chair Harrington and Commissioners. Thanks so much for the opportunity to be with you this evening. My name is Shannon Wilson, and I'm the Program Manager of the Office of Community Development. And I am joined by some colleagues from the City of Tualatin, Abby McFetridge and Lindsay Marshall, as well as the Chair of our Policy Advisory Board and Counselor from the City of Banks, Stephanie Jones. So we have a brief presentation for you, and then where they'll have the opportunity to introduce themselves and give some brief comments as well, but I'll go ahead and start things off. So this week we are celebrating Community Development Week, which is a national celebration. We can move to the next slide, please. Oh, I have the clicker. Sorry. Thank you. There we go. We're going very fast. All right. So this week is celebrated nationally, and it's really a chance to recognize the investment of 2 types of federal funding that are administered by our office at the county. So that's the Community Development Block Grant program, and then the Home Investment Partnerships program. So 2025 is the 51st anniversary of the Community Development Block Grant program, and it's the 46th anniversary of us administering that program in Washington County. And since that time, since 1979, over $115 million have been invested in key infrastructure projects, facilities projects, single-family housing rehab projects, and key public services, all for the benefit of low and moderate income households and neighborhoods in the county. And so Proclaiming Community Development Week also recognizes this investment, as I said, and for both programs, CDBG and the Home Investment Partnerships Program. So over time, over the past 46 years, it's been quite a while, several decades, and so the program has had a significant impact in the county. So it supported the acquisition or construction or rehab of nearly all the senior centers in Washington County, as well as many of the fire stations, libraries, community centers, and shelters throughout the county. Supported critical home repairs for over 1,200 low-income, elderly, and disabled households. So often those are really critical repairs that make the difference between them being able to remain in their house and keep their home habitable or not, and them having to move out. And so it allows older adults to age in place and then also to have accessibility upgrades that enables them to stay as well. The Community Development Block Grant Program has also supported water system infrastructure projects in a variety of cities in the county, which in many cases has then supported further and enabled further growth in those areas, as well as unincorporated Washington County. And then the program has also supported sidewalk and other infrastructure improvements in different neighborhoods throughout the county. In addition to public services, again, all for the benefit of low and moderate income households, as well as people experiencing homelessness. So the Home Investment Partnerships Program has supported the production of over 21 regulated affordable rental housing units in Washington County since 1992. And so I think all of you commissioners are aware that it takes many sources to support and finance affordable rental housing. And so home is one small part of that. But one of the key components of home is that it's often the first money into a project. So oftentimes, although it can be a small amount relative to the overall project budget, it is a catalyst for that project and helps bring in other state and regional resources for these projects. And so just a couple are featured there on the slide that have been funded over the past many years. So one, Clover Court, which is a permanent supportive housing unit project in Aloha, sponsored by New Narrative. Bridge Housing, which developed the Cornelius Place, which is where the Cornelius Library is as well. And then Reach CDC developed Orchards at Orenco. So phase 1 there is featured. There's also phase 2 and phase 3. And a great example of affordable housing development in a high opportunity area at Orenco Station and then right on the Max line as well. So just a couple more featured CDBG projects before I hand it over to our guests. Oops. We just wanted to feature a couple of the more recent projects we've supported with Community Development Block Grant. So 2 projects through Just Compassion, both in Tigard, the Safe Parking Program, as well as a shelter and resource center. So a lot of other county resources going into both of those projects. In the case of the shelter, the Community Development Block Grant funds were used to purchase the land that the shelter was built on. And then we've also support with Community Development Block Grant funds Home Plate Youth Services for their outreach and drop-in support, which supports homeless youth throughout the county. And so we wanted to feature one additional recent project that we funded with the City of Tualatin, and so I want to turn it over to our partners from the city. Thank you.
Hello, thank you so much for having us. My name's Abby McFetridge. Lindsay and I co-managed the project. I was on the engineering side, and I just wanted to touch on how beneficial the funding was. Like a lot of communities, Tualatin developed very fast around the 70s. At this point, a lot of our sidewalks are aging out of their useful life. And with the current standards, the PROWAG ADA standards, they're just needing to be upgraded. And like many construction projects, costs are rising. And without this funding, we wouldn't have been able to improve this neighborhood for everyone, whether it's pushing a stroller or in a wheelchair. We want our streets to be accessible for everyone, and I just think this was a very beneficial project, and we are so thankful for the funding. And these pictures are like just completed, so you can see the crosswalk on the right and a fresh ADA ramp with truncated dome. I know I can talk about like slopes in particular for probably hours, but I won't get into it. So thank you so much. I'll let Lindsay talk about the grant side.
Yeah, so again, my name is Lindsay Marshall. I'm on the public works side of this project. And like Abby said, this is just something that wouldn't necessarily get done if it weren't for CDBG funds. This is one of our low-income, primarily non-English speaking, very heavily pedestrian-oriented neighborhoods. And we've tried to do a lot of work in this neighborhood over the last couple of years, and this was kind of the last big piece of a new park, other pedestrian safety enhancements, that kind of thing. So it really kind of brought many years of effort to completing this particular project. And we're looking forward to working on another project through CDBG this upcoming year for our senior center to do some upgrades there. Again, those kind of really essential pieces that aren't necessarily like capital projects that the city would take on. So I just also want to give a shout out to the county staff. They're really wonderful and amazing to work with. So thank you again for this wonderful program. We're really appreciative to be a part of it.
I also want to second that part. Having worked with other funding and other jurisdictions, the staff have been so great to work with. Like it has made Lindsay and my lives so much easier with how great they were to work with. So yes.
Great. Well, thanks so much. Oh, I'm just going to say one thing before I... Okay. And I did not ask them to say things about staff, just so you know.
Don't worry, even though we know you and your staff are terrific, we're always glad to hear more.
So finally, before I hand it over to Chair Jones from our Policy Advisory Board, I just did want to highlight the oversight for this work, so implementation and administration of these federal funds in Washington County. So, and want to acknowledge Chair Harrington also serves on the Policy Advisory Board, and Commissioner Treese serves as alternate, and for a long time also served as the primary. So thank you both for your service on the PAB, the Policy Advisory Board. And also want to thank our chair of the PAB, so Councilor Stephanie Jones, for being here. She's just coming to the end of 4 years as chair, and so I'm not sure how long you've been on the PAB overall, but anyway, just really appreciate her being here tonight. And so she'll have some brief comments and then read the proclamation. Thank you.
I think I've served for 7 years now. So in those 7 years, I've seen a lot of money go out. But what's really great about the PAB is that it's all the jurisdictions working together to make decisions. So there's a voice from every city. There's also the county voice. And when we have the presentations, I feel like we've been doing a very good job at distributing the funds so that it hits every part of the county. So that's one of the good things that we've been able to do with all these funds. And I get to read the proclamation for tonight. So, Proclamation, Board of Commissioners for Washington County, National Community Development Week, April 21st to 25th, 2025. Whereas the week of April 21st to 25th has been designated as National Community Development Week by the National Community Development Association to celebrate the Community Development Block Grant Program and the Home Investment Partnerships Program. And whereas the CDBG program provides annual funding and flexibility to local communities to provide decent, safe, and sanitary housing, a suitable living environment, and economic opportunities to low and moderate income people. And whereas the Home Investment Partnerships Program provides funding to local communities to create decent, safe, affordable housing opportunities for low-income persons. Nationally, over 1 million units of affordable housing have been completed using home funds. And whereas over the past 5 years, our community has received a total of $10,568,056 in CDBG funds and $8,439,604 in home funds. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Washington County Board of Commissioners designates the week of April 21 through 25, 2025 as National Community Development Week in support of these two valuable programs that have tremendous contributions to the viability of the housing stock, infrastructure, public services, and economic well-being of our community. Be it further resolved that the Washington County Board of Commissioners urges Congress to recognize the outstanding work being done locally and nationally by the CDBG and home programs by supporting increased funding for both programs in fiscal year 2025. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Jones, former Mayor Jones. I just want to add that all of the mayors throughout Washington County over decades have gone to Washington, D.C. to continue to advocate that these dollars will be part of the federal government budget from one congressionally supported budget year to another because of the effectiveness. So thank you to our partners from the city of Tualatin to coming tonight to bring the project to life that you worked so hard on. And thank you, Councilor Jones, for your participating. I know firsthand what I was told from my predecessor on the PAB, that you run a very efficient but useful and comfortable meeting. So thank you very much. And Shannon, you and your team do terrific work for our community, and we really appreciate the results that all of our residents and our local government partners are able to see right in our community. So we have a proclamation as read. Commissioners, feel free to make comments, but otherwise I'm open to a motion. Go ahead, Commissioner Treese.
I'd like to first make the comment that the time that I spent 6 years with all of you on the PAB board, it was so rewarding, and it was also fun. We had a good time. We got to celebrate the 50th anniversary. We got to go on some tours, as well as see the real impact of these dollars in our communities. But Councilor Jones, Stephanie, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it's a great representation across the county, supported by great staff. So how can you lose? I'd like to move that we make this proclamation.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt said proclamation. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, Commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously, 5-0. And if you would join me in picture taking right down here, because we often have newsletters and social media posts. So all of our CDBG and home staff too.
Commissioner Willie, could we have you come over here? Could you please come over? Yeah. Yeah.
Are we ready?
Okay.
Good.
One, two, three. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Always being our
I know how to read.
That was your, oh, sure.
Well, that's one of two proclamations that we have for tonight. Our second proclamation is related to Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So Alicia Sojourner, our Chief Equity and Inclusion Officer, and two members of the Washington County employees set have joined us this evening. Thank you very much for joining us and bringing this to life and meaning. I'll turn it over to you, Ms. Sojourner.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Alicia Sojourner, Chief Equity and Inclusion Officer for Washington County. May is National Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and I am honored to share a few words before my wonderful peers and co-workers read the proclamation. Washington County cultural heritage celebration are very important starting points for our collective organization engagement to learn about the diversity within our community and ways that we can be inclusionary and be equitable. These cultural celebrations offer an opportunity to enter into a relationship with staff, community who identify as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander to build trust, broaden our horizons, and deepen our understanding of our neighbors in Washington County. The celebration is also created an opportunity to learn and reflect on the historic and present oppressive conditions of Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders, and the community's resilience in the face of those conditions. Just like every culture, no culture is monolithic. All cultures, ethnicities, and nationalities encompass a range of diverse and lived experiences and opinions. There are over 45 countries and far more ethnicities included within the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities. The celebration and resource page may not represent all of those wide ranges and nuances and cultures and subcultures. However, we do know that Heritage Month Committee are very thoughtful about the learning opportunities they share with our Washington County community. We encourage people who may be curious about what it is or the policy implications of why we share this month to reach out to us at the Office of Equity, Inclusion, and Community Engagement, or to have open dialogue with their colleagues, and of course, the Planning Committee. The planning team would like to invite staff and members of the public to events that will be put on throughout the month of May to educate and celebrate NHPI Heritage Month in 2025. And as I say, every Heritage Month, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander history is American history and a part of all of our futures. With that, I'm going to turn it over to my amazing coworkers.
Thank you, Alicia. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat petang. Peace be upon you and good evening to Chair Harrington and the Board of County Commissioners. My name for the record is Afiq Hisham. I use he, him pronouns. And though I am with Health and Human Services, I sit before you today alongside April, who will introduce herself shortly, as proud members of the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander community. As a Malaysian American myself, it fills me with joy to be a part of the planning committee behind the month's commemoration. And as we prepare for the month ahead, I encourage everyone in the county to celebrate with us in the May ahead.
Good evening. My name is April Malare. I work for Washington County Sheriff's Office. I'm a proud first-generation Filipino-American who grew up in a naval household. My entire line of family is either in the military or in the medical field. My father was a naval officer before he passed away. My mother is a retired medical technologist with Balboa Naval Hospital. My sister gave up her private practice to become a VA nurse to work with our VA veterans in San Diego. I now am proud to serve the Sheriff's Office in that manner. I'm very excited to be here today. Without further ado, to read the proclamation in honor of Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month 2025. Whereas the Washington County Board of Commissioners takes pride in recognizing May 2025 as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander AANHPI Heritage Month, honoring and celebrating the many significant contributions of Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders who enrich our nation's and Washington County's history while being instrumental in its ongoing and future successes. And
Whereas the official designation of May as AANHPI Heritage Month was signed into law in 1992 and celebrates all Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders, known as the AANHPI community, whose variety of contributions have helped build our culture and society. And
Whereas we celebrate all of those included within the AANHPI community, which consists of culturally and linguistically diverse peoples representing populations spanning many countries, islands, and locations, and
whereas the theme for this year's observance is a legacy of leadership and resilience, which honors the contributions of AANHPI leaders and the resilience of the AANHPI community, and
whereas we recognize and remain committed to the belief that opportunity is a set of circumstances that make it possible to do something, and that people can build, access, achieve, or give opportunity, and
whereas we recognize the countless contributions, vibrant cultures, and rich heritage of the AANHPI community, and
whereas we acknowledge, appreciate, and continue seeking the contributions and leadership of the many Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islanders who play a significant role in our local history and Washington County's community fabric in the fields of science, education, agriculture, government, commerce, the arts, and many others.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that on this 22nd day of April, the Washington County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim May 2025 as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, encouraging all residents of Washington County to share in this special tribute by learning about and celebrating the generations of Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders who continue to enrich our nation and our local community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, what are the wishes?
I move to approve the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Heritage Month proclamation.
Second. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, Commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. I hope that the three of you will join us, as well as any members of our community who identify as part of our AANHPI heritage community, to please join us. Thank you.
Just like a little bit more, please. Just a little bit, yeah. A little bit squishier. Just like one more step inwards, please. Okay, now we are good. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Yes, yeah, I'll talk to the person.
And thank you for our interpreters for trying to keep up with the proclamations. Really appreciate it. Thank you. All righty. That brings us to the action portion of tonight's agenda. We have one item before us. Oh, and there's our expert staff team coming up to tell us more about this item. Please take it away.
Good evening, Chair Harrington and members of the board. My name is Erin Wardell, and I'm the Assistant Director of the Department of Land Use and Transportation.
Good evening, Chair Harrington and members of the board. I'm Jessica Pells, the Policy Analyst for Land Use and Transportation, and we're going to talk to you about the TV Highway Locally Preferred Alternative.
We do, but we don't have slides yet.
We don't have a slide up.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's on those TVs. Okay.
I just turned it.
There we go.
No, okay, well, we're going to kick it right off with.
Yeah. We were going to do an interpretive dance.
We're going to keep this nice and short with an overview of the project planning history, the benefits, the milestones and decisions so far, the funding strategy, the locally preferred alternative, and next steps, and then our requested board action for you. So I know that many of you have been involved with TV highway planning for a long time. This was first identified as a priority high-capacity corridor in the Metro High-Capacity Transit System Plan in 2009. Since then, there's a lot of work that has happened, including the 2013 TV Highway Corridor Plan, the 2019 Moving Forward TV Highway Plan, and we've been coordinating with our partners in the cities for a very long time on this, which has finally led to this work that we're culminating in tonight. So the Project Steering Committee for the TV Highway Transit and Safety Project convened in 2022 and included Commissioner Fye as your representative. There was a lot of public engagement that happened over the last couple years, including in-person and online engagement opportunities, lots of neighborhood associations, business meetings, I think the TV Highway Equity Coalition, other neighborhood groups, so there was a lot of engagement out there on the corridor. Just to go through briefly the project benefits of the TV Highway Transit and Safety Program, or project, rather, will have enhanced pedestrian and bicycle crossings or signalized crossings at all stations. It will eliminate the partial bus pull-out stop design. I think they're finding that's a little unsafe for vehicles and causes vehicles to weave around and problems with the bus getting back out. All the stations will have platforms with curbs and waiting areas. To enhance the rider experience, all the stations will have shelters, lighting, seating, real-time arrival info. The bus route will turn into an FX, or frequent service route, which is expected to have a 12-minute service instead of the 15-minute service it has today. There will be access for people using mobility devices, and the zero-emission buses, and including the large articulated buses, I think we put the bending buses in our memo, and then we thought that was a funny way to put it. Just to go through the milestones, we talked about the past planning efforts. The 2022, the TV Highway Transit and Safety Project began. 2022, the purpose and need was done. The existing conditions work was all finished. The design and cost refinement happened. And of course, that happened, if you recall, it started out as a $500 million project, and then it got refined down to a $300 million project during that time. So it took a little longer than anticipated. In July 2024, the steering committee made a decision to pursue the capital investment grant, that federal CIG program, that will help fund, hopefully, half of the project cost. And then finally, it culminated in the steering committee recommending unanimously the locally preferred alternative and draft funding strategy. This is just a brief overview of the funding strategy. So of course that shows the federal CIG Small Starts grant of $150 million. That would represent half the project cost. The other half of the project cost would be made up from corridor partners, and that includes TriMet, Metro, ODOT, Washington County, Beaverton, Hillsborough, Cornelius, Forest Grove. The project team is asking the state for a $50 million distribution from lottery bond funds. The TV Highway team is also asking Metro for $30 million of regional flexible funding allocation funds. And JPACT is expected to make a decision on that in June, I believe. And then the carbon reduction program is putting in $5 million. So I'm just going to read through the LPA because that's what we're asking you to adopt tonight. So the recommended LPA, and that's the locally preferred alternative, is high-capacity transit in the Tualatin Valley Highway Corridor, is bus rapid transit with stations at the general locations indicated on the map on the following page. This is just from the resolution language. Operating between Beaverton Transit Center and 19th Avenue and B Street in Forest Grove, the route will generally follow the same alignment as TriMet's current Line 57 route. And this slide shows the map. Now, it's important to note that some of these stations are still under discussion, especially in Cornelius and Forest Grove. I think there's some refinement will still be happening for the station locations. So next steps in this process, all jurisdictions are being asked to adopt the locally preferred alternative, all affected jurisdictions. That will eventually make its way to Metro Council, and with everyone's support, they will add the LPA language to the RTP, the Regional Transportation Plan, and that enables it to be added to the MTIP, which is the Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Plan. Well, there's too many acronyms, which allows it to get federal funding. And then after that, or this will be coming up, I think by June is our plan, every government needs to adopt an IGA, an intergovernmental agreement, with TriMet, and that will confirm our funding contribution for the project development phase only at this point. The project development phase requires $25 million of committed funds to enter into project development by the FTA, and that's the Federal Transit Association. So that will have roles, responsibilities specific to the project development phase. The ongoing funding requests at the legislature and to Metro for the regional flexible funding allocation will continue over the next couple months as well. And finally, applying for admission to the capital investment program project development phase. So tonight, our requested board action is that you approve the resolution and order adopting the TV Highway Transit and Safety Project, locally preferred alternative, as described in the resolution and included in Exhibits A and B.
Well, like a lot of projects that are worthy of moving forward, this one has many more steps left to do, but before we can get there, we need to complete this one. So what are the wishes of the commission with regard to approving the resolution and order as articulated?
So moved, Chair Harrington.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Are there any commissioner comments, or are you ready to vote?
Can I just ask one really quick question about the state funding component of this? What is the timing of when we sort of are either aiming for that or have to have it to, is it, are we trying this cycle?
Yes.
Okay,
Ask
at the
is for this
legislature now.
cycle.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for clarifying that.
Although I just will clarify that funding will be used on the construction phase. So if it, for some reason, couldn't happen or didn't happen this cycle, I believe the ask would be in another 2 years.
Thank you.
So this is the stage for the Capital Investment Program, or SIG, project development phase. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. Thank you, staff, for your work at every step along the way, all the plans that preceded this one and all the work that is before us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We certainly couldn't do it without you. Wouldn't want to either. Next, we have our second public comment period of this evening's meeting. This is an opportunity for members of our community to come and share their thoughts with us on any topic for up to 5 minutes an individual, 30 minutes maximum. Clerk Moss, who do we have this evening?
Thank you, Chair Harrington. We have Bob Seward, and followed by Mary Kalakiopoulos. Take it closer, Mary.
Mary Hokiopoulos. So, Mary, you get to go first. All right.
Good evening, Chair Harrington and Commissioners. I'm Mary Halkiopoulos, a resident of Washington County for 23 years. On several occasions, we've addressed the Judicial Watch lawsuit currently underway against the Oregon Secretary of State. The lawsuit addresses Oregon's violations of the National Voter Registration Act of 1993, the NVRA, by not properly maintaining the voter rolls and by not removing voter registrations according to the process outlined therein. On January 29, 2025, yet another lawsuit was filed against the Secretary of State for additional violations of NVRA. This second lawsuit was filed by the Public Interest Legal Foundation, a nonpartisan organization which promotes the integrity of the electoral process nationwide through research, education, remedial programs, and litigation. In their work, the foundation regularly utilizes NVRA's public disclosure provision, which has two distinct requirements for each state. One, to conduct a general program that makes a reasonable effort to remove the names of ineligible voters from the official lists of eligible voters for identified reasons, including the death of the registrant. And two, to retain for at least 2 years all records concerning the implementation of programs and activities related to registration record maintenance and to make those records available for public inspection. As we have stated in previous testimony, Oregon is a member of the Electronic Registration Information Center, or ERIC, and relies on ERIC to help maintain and update the centralized voter rolls. Per the ERIC membership agreement, every 60 days, Oregon provides ERIC with, 1, all inactive and active voter files, and 2, all licensing or identification records from motor vehicles departments. In return, using member and third-party data, ERIC then makes reports available to Oregon and other members. One of the reports is the deceased report, which identifies voters who may have died. Upon receiving this report, Oregon is required to validate the data by, at minimum, initiating contact with the voter, who is interesting if they're deceased, in order to either correct the inaccuracy or to obtain information leading to inactivation or updating of the record. Occasionally, after the fact, ERIC learns of mistakes in the deceased report and submits a subsequent retraction report so that states can remedy the error and either not remove a voter or re-register a voter who was erroneously identified as deceased. On April 24, 2024, the Foundation emailed a letter to Oregon Secretary of State's office requesting inspection or production of copies of all deceased retractions reports received from ERIC and copies of all other related records concerning deceased retractions reports. On May 6, 2024, Oregon Secretary of State Public Record Analyst Colleen Benson wrote to inform that the records sought under the request effectively could not be offered for inspection or disclosure because, quote, we do not have those records as we do not retain them, end quote. She further stated, quote, we receive the data monthly, however, we do not download and retain the data, end quote. This violates the NVRA public disclosure provision, which, 1, requires maintenance of all such reports for 2 years, and 2, authorizes the Foundation and the public the right to obtain, review, or duplicate the reports. On April 7th, 2025, the parties reached a settlement, and as part of the settlement, the Secretary of State has agreed to make reasonable efforts to obtain and retain future deceased retraction reports in accordance with federal law. Hopefully, they'll retain all reports required under NVRA. Thanks to the Foundation, we learned of yet another example of Oregon's many violations of federal law, yet we continue to be told that our elections are safe and secure, and it's amazing to think that leaders and legislators in this county and state don't appear to realize or care that their own civil rights are being violated under the current election system. What does it take to acknowledge the issues and change the system. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hokiopoulos. Go ahead, Mr. Stewart.
Thank you for the opportunity to express my views. I'm going to talk just briefly, 5 minutes, about the role of government. This is a debate that we've been having in this country since, well, it started big time with President Reagan. And President Reagan said, government's not the solution, government is the problem. And I voted for Reagan. I thought, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's those government people, those lazy bureaucrats, they're causing all the problems. But it's been my experience in life since that moment that has formed my opinion of what the role of government is. Things happened to me by accident. And looking back, I said, I learned something from that. I was in the Air Force. I was required to fly 2 hours every month, so I go down the flight line. It wasn't scary. I was a physician. But before the plane took off, I'm sitting there for 30 minutes. All this activity going on. The guys in the cockpit, the guys in the ground crew, the guys in the control tower, the guys refueling the plane. Then the plane took off. I said, whoa. This isn't just one hero in the cockpit. This is a whole team effort. The second thing happened to me, learning by accident, was I got a job in the VA hospital as a physician. Now, I was in private practice for 15 years. I took the job in the VA because I was desperate to have a more favorable lifestyle and not so much night call. But the VA is government organization. And what was it? It was great. 98% of the people there were professionals. A lot of them were ex-veterans. It was awesome. The only problem we had was a few clunker physicians, but everybody else was great. And then I joined the Manistee Doctors in 2009. We went across the country advocating for national health care. So I had to learn about national government, quote, government health care. And I learned a lot up from that. And government health care, by the way, all over the world except for here. And it works. So just briefly, what is the role of government? Lincoln said it best. He said, he's brilliant. He said, the role of government is to do for the people what they need to have done, but which they cannot do for themselves. And he went through several things. Combined action, roads, bridges, schools, courts, on and on. Big government began with President Lincoln's Republican Party, which in fundamental ways was a progenitor of the Franklin Roosevelt. He gave us the first income tax, the first national banking system, big bureaus like the Department of Agriculture, Bureau of Pensions, VA care, the Pacific Railroad Act. So I think the reason government has like this low approval rating is that people have been told that by the right-wing media, Fox and all these radio guys, that the big government's the problem. You can't, so what should we do? I think this is a real big, important issue, and that we should be talking about this in our party, in the schools. What is the role of government? Continued education, civics education, and then I think the other thing we need to do is to communicate to the people what we do as like you're in the government, but do you ever go to the people and say, this is what we did at our commissioners meeting, you know? And like President Biden, he accomplished so much, but he never went out and bragged and told the people. You have to tell people. So I believe in a strong federal government. I believe that the government should ensure health care, education, defense. And if you ever have a question about what is the role of government, just look at the 6 elements of the preamble. We the people, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, common defense, general welfare. There you got it. Time's out.
Thank you, Mr. Seward.
All right, next we
Thank you
have
for listening.
John Woods, and that will be the last one in the room unless anyone else has raised their hand. So, Mr. Woods.
Welcome, Mr. Woods.
I just want to point something out to you. This is my 30th article for American Thinker. I was also published on X. I was also part of my article was published on Washington Examiner. I haven't been here to the commissioners' meetings because I've been busy off doing a bunch of other things. But what I read in these stories about the clean water services, I'm coming back and I'm going to speak about it and speak to it. A lot of you are going to run for office in the future. You do not want me at your town hall at all. Now, I hear and reading these articles that $92,000 is spent on lunches. Do you realize that's more money than it costs for 2 brand new cars? How is that possible? And I see this R&O, and they say, well, that's all right. No, it isn't. This is like trying to pet the fur and smooth it down. Well, it ain't going to go away. And I hear that this director earns $392,000. Do you realize that you have elderly people on fixed incomes for about $20,000? So this director is earning at least 10 times what these people do. And these people are lucky they can go out once a month for a hamburger and fries. You people owe those people out there a public apology. Whether you like it or not, it's in your purview, it's on your thing. She works for you. Don't try and shift it off. And I have been very silent about this. They haven't said a word. But I will write if I have to. This needs to be fixed once and for all. She needs to resign and retire, and you need to find another director. And that's the bottom line. If you don't like it, so what? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Woods. I'd also like to invite you to join us Friday, May 9th, right here in these chambers, where we will be learning more as part of the Clean Water Services Budget Committee around what the proposed fiscal year FY26 budget proposes. Thank you.
All right. Is there any member in the auditorium that wished to provide public comment that didn't get a chance to sign up? Not seeing one come forward. Was there any member online who should provide public comment for up to 5 minutes? Give you just a moment to utilize the raise hand function. Not seeing any additional hands, Chair Harrington.
Thank you, Clerk Moss. Next, we'll move to board announcements. I have an updated list on this Friday, April 25th. Many of the members of the Board of Commissioners will be joining other local area elected officials for a tour of the county courthouse starting at 6 p.m. Then next Monday, April 28th, 6 p.m., right here in these chambers, the Washington County Budget Committees will be meeting to hear the presentation of the proposed budget from our County Administrator and Budget Officer, Ms. Tanya Angie. On Tuesday, May 6th, we will be having our set of meetings. We'll start our work session at 9 a.m., pause that, then go to the Housing Authority Board of Directors meeting at 10, and immediately following that, around 10:15, we'll have the board business meeting. On Friday, May 9th, we'll have the Clean Water Services Board of Directors and the other members, our 5 laypersons, for the Budget Committee, joining us here for the budget meeting from 9 to 4 in the afternoon. Then the following week, on Monday, May 12th, we'll be having 2 different budget information sessions. The first one with local officials throughout the county at 5 p.m. And then we'll be having a Washington County Budget Community Town Hall starting at 7 p.m., all right here in the chambers. On Tuesday, May 13th, is work session day. We will start at 9 a.m. Then we're into the Budget Committee Marathon. On Wednesday, May 14th, we'll have the Washington County Budget Committee starting at 9 a.m., going all day, as well as the next day, May 15th, starting at 9 a.m. We'll have a more detailed agenda as those days get closer. Then the following Tuesday, we'll have all of our special districts budget committee meetings that day. That will be the Washington County and Special District for Lighting number 1, and then the combined Enhanced Sheriff Patrol District Urban Road Maintenance District Budget Committee, as well as the North Bethany Service District for Roads. And I think I got them all. I think I got them all. So that's it for board announcements tonight, unless you, my colleagues, have more to add. Nope. Seeing none, I would ask for a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Move to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. Good night.